for prayer. National anthem, please. Stand and sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for their right. We want freedom's fight. Oh, one strong and free. Africa is our motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God's good hands. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one strong and free, one land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace neath Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one strong and free, praise be to God. Bless our great nation. Free men we stand under the flag of our land, Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one strong and free.
Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, we humble ourselves before you this morning. We worship you for giving us this life. We thank you, Almighty Father, for all you are doing in the lives of your servants, the President of the Republic of Zambia, and all those who are working under him in government. Thank you also, Almighty Father, for all the people of Zambia. You are the good shepherd to this nation. We thank you, Almighty Father, that you are concerned with every trouble which comes to this nation, and you are the solution for the nation Zambia. We thank you, Almighty Father, that you have appointed your servants in government for this time to lead the nation. You are giving them wisdom, understanding, knowledge, how to lead the nation Zambia. They are more than capable to do the work you have given to them because you are with them. We come against, Almighty Father, the spirit of violence in our nation, killing, shedding innocent blood. Father, forgive us our sins as a nation, and we pray, Sovereign God, dear Master, that remove the spirit of killing in our country and comfort the bereaved families in our nation. In the name of Jesus. Father, I surrender this press conference in your hands. May you grace it, and may you, Almighty Father, give more wisdom to your servant. And let the Zambians, Almighty Father, carry every word your servant are going to speak to their hearts, to the glory of your holy name. And to you, Almighty Father, we give thanks today and forever. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We may be seated. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, Mrs. W.K. Mutale Nalumango, Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Honorable Ministers present, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, Acting Secretary to the Cabinet, Dr. Oliver Kalabo, Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet, senior government officials present, colleagues from within State House present, colleagues from the media fraternity invited and present, all other invited guests present, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, I would like to welcome you all to the President's press conference for Q1. Now, I say Q1 or Q1 because we envision that the President should and will engage the members of the public through you colleagues in the media on a quarterly basis. Thank you for coming. And perhaps to echo the words of the President himself, welcome to your State House, words which I believe you're going to be hearing quite repeatedly, because this is your State House, whereas we are merely servants whom you have entrusted with the responsibility and duty to manage the affairs of this great country on your behalf. Thus, this press conference, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, all invited guests, is part of our standard commitment for the President to stay and remain engaged with the people who elected us into office and further enhance transparency and accountability in the way we, your servants, deliver on the leadership mandate you have given us. And before I invite the President to speak, perhaps just a few housekeeping rules. Number one, please, let us keep all our mobile phones either on silent or completely switched off to avoid disruptions of any sort. The COVID-19 pandemic is very much still alive and amongst us. Let us all remain masked up as much as possible and maintain social distancing. And once the President has concluded his remarks, let me indicate that we shall take a few questions, whereas further guidance in that order shall follow through before we commence our question and answer session. At this point in time, I have the privilege of inviting Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, to deliver his press conference. Mr. President, sir.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. First, I want to recognize the colleagues that are here, the Vice President of our country, Republic of Zambia, ministers that are here. I've seen a couple of ministers, or a few of them, so to say. Also, Cabinet, Secretary of Cabinet, acting on the team from Cabinet Office, permanent secretaries that are here, maybe here, and indeed other senior colleagues in government. But more importantly, the press that are here in quite some number today. A very impressive number. Thank you for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. Gwadia has said, our intention is to have quarterly engagements with the people of Zambia, minimum quarterly engagements, and we are in month 8 now. We had a press briefing earlier in the year, and later in the year, I must say the previous year, this quarter ending March, thereabout, April, we are having this press conference. So let me start today's press briefing by acknowledging and thanking the people of Zambia for mourning the late President Rupia Banda together. For mourning the late President Rupia Banda together in peace and dignity. We did request you that we ought to mourn at the time he left us, President Banda, in an orderly manner, and I think we were able to do just that. So thank you to all of you who contributed to that dignified send-off to President Banda. With the independence generation, our generation gradually passing on, we must continue to cherish, to thank them for their contribution to our country's struggles, which obviously includes the independence struggle, liberation struggle, and for leading our country in those early years, very difficult years, but they were able to carry us through. So please, let's continue respecting them, those who are still alive, and learning from them, especially learning the art of unifying the country. It's very important that we keep our country unified. Otherwise, in disunity, in exclusions instead of inclusions, in marginalization instead of basically equitable treatment of all citizens, the developmental agenda becomes a difficult task to implement. So we want to encourage ourselves to be part of those values, and so we can pass them to the generations after us. Through working hard in peace, in love, and unity, we obviously need to continue focusing on rebuilding our country, especially the economic side of our country is fortunes, which will indeed support the social side. And we must get the equation right. We cannot have social support without the economic success. And that equation needs to be respected by all of us. In as much as we love each other, we support each other. If we do not succeed economically, we cannot support each other socially. We cannot look after the sick, the weak, the children, the differently abled in society. This is a song you will hear more and more from us, but we want you to see more actions as we implement those measures that will drive us towards economic recovery. When we came to office, ladies and gentlemen, we committed to implementing a culture of transparency and servant leadership. We made it clear this is how we are going to run the country. We even said it before we formed the government, that this is the way we are going to run this country. We never forget that we are first and foremost public servants. We are first and foremost public servants, and that we must at all times serve the public, the people of Zambia. Remember that. We do remember that, and I want to remind my colleagues in government, from the Vice President here, to the ministers, to those in cabinet, to those who are PSCs, to those who are fortunate to have been appointed in commissions, and indeed anyone working for the public sector, central government, local government, quasi-government, including parastatals, because sometimes parastatals believe that they are not public servants. Actually, they are public servants. So all of us are there to serve the people. We're conscious of that, and we like the public to understand that we are servants to them, and we must interact with each other in a manner that will enable both of us, first on our part, to perform our duties, on the part of citizens, to receive the services that they expect from us. I think that should not be misunderstood in any way. So it means those of us in public office must remind ourselves every day why we are going to office, why we come to this your state house every morning, why we go to our ministerial offices. We must be aware that is to serve the people. So I want the people of Zambia to feel comfortable about that realization. And we've seen something different. We've seen a lot of something different in the past. But you can be rest assured, this team, this president will continue reminding ourselves that we are who we are. We never forget that, and we'll never forget that. This means keeping you, our masters, informed, like we are doing today, and in many other platforms, in many other ways, about the progress that we're making, but also about the challenges that we may be faced with as we serve you, the people of Zambia. We open ourselves to scrutiny, because that's important, from the media and from other citizens, as long as we are scrutinizing each other based on facts, and not social media talk and not innuendos. Because if we make decisions based on falsehoods, we will not achieve the objective that we set ourselves to achieve. And I think that goes without saying. It's an old adage. Those who tell lies have destroyed societies, time immemorial. And it hasn't changed even now. So press conferences are an important part of this commitment, but there are other ways that we should be engaging with the people of Zambia on an ongoing basis. We are here to answer to you openly and honestly. Openly and honestly. If we face a challenge, we'll let you know. And we'll ask for your support, your suggestions, how to deal with those challenges. If we don't let you know, ask us. That's the way it should be. We are aware that there has been much discussion about the ongoing fight against corruption. And that's the way it should be. Over the past few months, we've made significant progress in our fight against corruption, with a number of cases opened, with assets reclaimed. Some are in the process. They've been seized. And I think it's important that going forward from today, that the institutions that are responsible for the fight against corruption provide regular reports to the people of Zambia on the range of assets, the range of cases that they're handling, the cases that are in court already. And I'm sure the reason citizens believe that there's not much happening is because there's a different style, and I'll talk about it. There's a different approach, and that's to do with respecting the rule of law. While we fight corruption, we must respect the rule of law. 9 months ago, there was no rule of law around here. And Zambians got used to seeing aggressive arrests as a semblance of order. No. That was disorder. That was abusing citizens. We can and we will fight corruption within the rule of law. It's one side. We did what was being done to us. Maybe that's what Zambians are missing. We will be no different from those that did run this country without respecting the rule of law. We've got to get used to orderliness as citizens. We got used to disorder. We have to get used to orderliness. In my time, I got arrested, never enjoyed something called bond, although it was within the law. Today, an opposition leader is called the police at 14 hours. They are charged, arrested at 15 hours. They are given bond at 16:30. To many citizens, there's no fight against corruption. No. There's a fight against corruption, but we are doing it within the rule of law. We better get used to that. I want to emphasize that from the beginning. I want to say that the students that we have sent to university and other colleges, additional 2,000 students who have received scholarships, bursaries at the University of Zambia and elsewhere, we were able to do that because we applied some of the recovered resources to this best investment, education. Many may have not paid attention to that, but this is the way we thought would be better use of recovered resources, amongst others. We understand, we hear your frustrations, those who feel that things are not happening fast enough. We understand you. And this is something we are addressing, including what I've said already. We are deeply committed to the two goals, I shall repeat, to the fight against corruption. A, fighting corruption. B, deepening the rule of law. I'm repeating this. Fight corruption, yet deepening the rule of law. These two are not contradictory. These two are a package that was not there 9 months ago. This is the package that is there now. And I think the citizens If we don't appreciate this now, we'll appreciate it in a few years from now. I'm dead sure about that. As you get used to normals in society, as you get used to your freedoms, as you get used to the freedoms for others, even those who took away our freedoms, today we want them to have freedom. But that must not be misunderstood, that we will not fight corruption. Absolutely not. We got used to blood, seeing blood in the markets. We consider that normal. We got used to seeing HH having no access to public places. We got used to seeing HH denied the use of an airport. We got used to seeing HH denied use of the airspace. We got used to that. I am saying that was a wrong getting used to something. We better get used to seeing freedoms enjoyed by our people, including those who took away our freedoms, who are enjoying the freedoms now. I think we should receive credit rather than frustration. But we understand your frustration, because human beings get used to certain things easily. We are asking you to get used to order. Now, let me ask fellow citizens, if we continue, which is what one country, neighboring country is doing, just to arrest people we suspect that they've stolen something, they stole something. A neighboring country, we sent a team to establish how is it that they've forced recoveries quickly. They briefed our team that we had struggled to recover because people were not cooperating. Thieves are difficult. And I agreed with that view, that thieves are difficult. That's why they steal from people. That's why they commit crimes. So we said, how did you do it? They said, we went to Parliament and changed the law. And any suspect, reasonable suspect we believe stole something from the people, we locked them up. And locked them up for 90 days. And left them in prison for 90 days. And we told them, when you are willing to talk, to bring the assets, we are here outside. Tell the prison warders that you are ready to talk, and we will talk to you. And since then, that country has recovered about $13 billion of public money. Is that the route we want to go? We should debate that. To accelerate, to arrest any suspect without due process of the law, lock them up for maybe 6 months. And they will talk. We know that they will talk. If we are to do that, we have to go to Parliament and change those laws. It is you, the citizens, that must make those decisions. But we'll probably be faced with a new problem, where we'll be trampling on the human rights of citizens. So our job is to find a middle ground, to fight corruption, to recover assets, which we need most, citizens need most, but still respect human rights. That's a core. That's a core which I believe will be respected in a couple of years from now. Should we take people to prison without trial? Should we? Should we get another team like HH locked up for 127 days without being taken to court, when the law says anyone arrested for suspicion of crime must be taken to court within 48 hours? Should we amend that law and take it to 6 months? The choice is ours. So for now, this leadership will take those arrested to court within 48 hours. And And if their matter is bondable, they should get bond. Including Given Rubinda, who got bond, but he never gave me bond when he was Justice Minister. But we're allowing the law for him to get bond. He should say thank you to us. That we are respecting the rule of law. Should we arrest people based on social media stories? That's a question. That's the frustration citizens say this country, this government is not fighting corruption because a social media story is run. And immediately this government must arrest those who are mentioned, who are named in the social media story. Pick them up. Throw them in for 127 days. It will be you, the same citizens, who will complain. Because even you will be named very soon by somebody who doesn't like you and post something on social media that you stole something, and will arrest you. And you'll be in for 127 days. Some of you have no spine. You break down after 10 days. You must say thank you to this government. This government had the right to be vindictive. This president could have been all out arresting people because I was the most discriminated citizen in this country in the last 10 years. The most detained, the most abused. I slept on the floor for 127 days without a blanket. I was put in a cell with fecal matter on the floor and all the walls. In the line, no toilet, no ventilation, no lighting for 8 days. Now that you have elected us to serve you in the presidency, if I had no different spine, I could have rounded up all of those people, illegal of course, threw them in prison. If I did that, I am no different from those who threw me into prison. I want to argue today that I'm different from those people. I occupy a higher moral ground than those people. But Zambians will say, no, lock them up the way they locked you up. No, I'm saying no. The law must apply. We shouldn't arrest people based on social media stories. We should investigate. We shouldn't arrest people based on falsehoods. We shouldn't. That's an era of the past. Social media is good, but it's also being abused. Should we believe what Nakachinda said, that HH called judges at his house and told them to do or to manage a matter, a certain matter in a certain way? Should we believe and run that on social media that HH is abusing judges? I never called any judges to my house. That was a lie. So why should we then promote lies in our country? I never called any judges to my house. Never. But Nakachinda said he had evidence, he had seen in his binoculars that I had called judges. Under the rule of law, Nakachinda must pay the price. Because he lied to the nation, isn't it? When Nakachinda is arrested, some of you will say, no, HH is abusing his presidential powers. No, it's the laws. The laws apply for the abused. The laws apply to the abuser. What do I mean? If you are arrested for criminality, the crime will be charged, will be given to you. If your matter is bailable, you should get bail. But you should have been charged. You were charged. That's the point I'm making. But the message I'm giving to the people of Zambia, let us not feed on falsehoods, because we will lose what we intend to do for this country. When he got arrested for lying that, or contempt of court, he went and said, no, that was a political statement. What is the meaning of that? What does that mean? You can go out and lie and injure citizens, then you say, no, that was a political statement. 2 days ago he said, and I hardly refer to individual names myself. You have seen I don't respond to criticism. That's why I don't. Publicly. I will respond by acting on the criticism, by correcting what people are saying, if what they're saying is true. 2 days ago he said, 3 days ago, how foolish can the people of Wengwa bring their foolishness to State House? How foolish can Tongas and Zambians allow a Tonga to bring the Tonga stupidity to State House? Now, this country is not about Tongas, it's not about Pembas, it's not about Nyanjas, Ngonis, Chevas, it's not about Roses, Rubale. It's about the citizens of Zambia. That's what it is about. I'm Zambian first. Zambian born where? In Monze. Did I choose? No. Ask my mother. You saw her on film a few days ago. Ask her. Why did she give birth to this child in Monze? Ask her, not me. But this is what we're beginning to make our country to be. To focus on pettiness. And you raise it and give it momentum on social media. This is not what this government wants to do. This government should take care of all citizens of this country. Irrespective of where they were born, how they twist their tongues in terms of language. That's a gift from God. We should cherish it. Then I saw somebody posting and saying, mind you, I read what you post. I want the nation to know that I read what is being posted. And someone posted, say, yeah, we should never elect another Tonga. Based on Nakachinda's statement. Doesn't the law provide against discrimination on ethnic grounds? It does. Another opposition leader a few days ago was addressing a small rally somewhere and said HH doesn't greet Zambians. He wears a mask when he faces Zambians and gloves. But when he sees white people, he removes his gloves and removes his face mask. Face mask is a health issue. Now, is that the checks and balances we're talking about? Talking about racism? Is that the country you want to build? Absolutely not. So my advice to citizens, don't drag your time, expensive time, valuable time, to petting the affairs of the country. Our approach to the fight against corruption is that there's no compromise on the fight against corruption. No compromise. Past, present, future corruption. No one should stand in the way of the fight against corruption. No one. No insinuation that there's an ethnic issue in the fight against corruption will sway this government. No minister, vice president, president, cabinet office should stand in the way of the fight against corruption. We are aware that the stock of many people in public office interacted with corruption firsthand. We are aware of that as they conducted their office duties. Some were used in the corruption process. My advice to you is that we have kept you in office because you are a citizen, because we want equity and fairness. But we are not oblivious to the fact that you may have been involved in corruption, and your best conduct is to walk away from protecting corruption. If you don't walk away, you will exit anyway. And when you exit, don't complain. No one in State House will protect the corrupt, the clique of the corrupt, who believe now they have a new lease of life because we are following the rule of law, because we are giving the police bond. The system is giving the police bond. That's a mistaken understanding. No one should stand in the way of corruption. I mean Auditor General, I mean Anti-Corruption Commission, I mean Drug Enforcement Commission, I mean DPP. I mean that. I mean that. We mean that no one should protect the corrupt. You do that, you're on your own. It's a futile exercise to do that. You do that, you're on your own. You're at cabinet office, you're shielding the corrupt, you're on your own. You're at this ACC, you're shielding corruption. When we pick it up, you're on your own. You're in State House, you're on your own. You're a minister, you're shielding people you know were corrupt. You are asked to swap people around, you don't want to swap people, you're on your own. You are DPP, you're on your own. No one is above the law. No one is above the law. Nobody. I guess that point is clear. Any insinuation that disrespect for the rule of law and due process is not a sign or is a sign of inability to act, you got it wrong. Fundamentally wrong. You got it wrong. It is clear that the clique of thieves are using people in public office to do all sorts of schemes. To do all sorts of schemes. I think respecting the rule of law is a strength, it's not a weakness. And it will be proven right very soon as we normalize this society, as citizens begin to enjoy their rights. But where your rights end, someone else's rights starts. By respecting the rule of law, we are confident with what we're doing. We are confident with the processes. Yes, we should pick up speed. We are confident in our approach. We do not wish to return to the dark days of 9 months ago. No. If you have stolen, you have abused your office, the law will visit you. Maybe slow, but surely it will visit you. Justice will be done. There's no sacred cow at all. You must be asking yourself the question, what are the changes to reinforce the fight against corruption we make? One, we have a new leadership at the drug enforcement. We took out the leadership that was there because we saw some weaknesses. There's a new leadership there. There's a new leadership at the Anti-Corruption Commission. There's a new leader of the judiciary. There's a new Chief Justice there, in case you haven't paid attention to that. There will be new leadership elsewhere. Wherever it's necessary, there will be a new leadership there to enhance the fight against corruption. What else? The fast track court is in place now. Have you heard that? In case you're not aware, the fast track court is in place now. I'm sure you followed somebody who was taken to the fast track court. They now knew that their case would be determined expeditiously. What did they do? They went to another court to appeal, to petition that their matter must not be taken to the fast track court. If you are innocent, why don't you want to be heard quickly? So that the matter is closed and you are found innocent. Why would you then abuse the judicial process to go to a court to stop the institutions of governance for your matter to be heard in the fast track court? Ask yourself that question. Why would anyone be scared of going to the fast track court? Just ask yourself that question. For me, I was accused of many things, and I used to challenge my accuser. Take me to court yesterday, and I'll be found innocent. I won't say much, because that matter is in a court of law somewhere. So that individual accused of corruption does not go through the fast track court. The fast track court was brought about to cut the speed, the time it takes to hear citizens, so that the innocent can be found innocent and the guilt can be found guilty. These are innovative things we've done as a new government. Absolutely. If you are a nephew to those individuals, that clique of thieves, encourage them to accept to go to the fast track court. Encourage them not to use civil servants to give them illegal immunities. No one, and I want to say it here, no one has the legal mandate to give immunity to anybody. No one. In case you haven't heard me, I can't do that. No one at State House can do that. No one at ACC can do that. No one at the DPP can give immunity to anyone. That's illegal. There's no law that allows that to happen. So if you're a clique of thieves and you think you will escape by abusing office bearers or institutions, you've got it wrong. If you are a brother to HH and you stole from the people of Zambia, HH will not help you. Even though he's a servant as president, I will not help you. So don't even try. Don't even try. So why are we debating a non-issue? That's the question. Why are we throwing so much energy on a non-issue? Because this is a non-issue. No presidential assistant can give immunity to anyone. No Minister of Justice, no Attorney General, no Solicitor General, no DPP. Anything done along those lines is a nullity. So why are we giving legs to an issue that is not an issue? I never met anybody in this State House in the name of Milimu to discuss immunity. And these reports were reaching me. I'm trying to check on my cattle. I haven't seen my cattle for years. I know in a derogatory manner, somebody called Chilangwa abused citizens and said, how can you vote for a cow? And put them in status. Now, is that how we should treat each other? Today, HH is a cow. What's the meaning of that? Yes, so I was checking on the cows. But I'm not a cow. I'm a fellow citizen. It's reducing the country to chicken feed. We have to deal with this immunity issue. There's no immunity for anyone. And the social media ran it. One of the colleagues sent me a message that said, you gave immunity to Milinga. I said, no. I have no capacity to do that. But the nation fed on this thing, and it became the most important thing, instead of fighting to create more jobs for the people of Zambia. We as citizens be part of this agenda, because you need to be. You elected this government to deliver change. That's what constitutes change, a different approach to handling things. Don't demonize the very thing you voted for, because you didn't want to be beaten in the markets. You didn't want to be beaten at the bus stops. Today, if you are UPND, you are PF, you are beating someone in the market, you'll be arrested.
That's right.
You'll be arrested. You see anybody beating people in the market, report. If the police don't act, they will be made to act. That's what you voted for. We've asked the Anti-Corruption Commission and other institutions that are fighting corruption, where we fight more free for the public to report corruption, any form of corruption. You abduct a citizen working at a cell phone company. You know somebody. Let's report on those hotlines. And the hotlines must work. You know somebody stealing something. Report. And the system must protect those who report. Whistleblowers. We must strengthen protection of whistleblowers. But the point I'm making is that all institutions fighting corruption, working with Minister of Information and Media, must provide toll-free hotlines, not one, not two, more. That's not one of the hotlines. If you are asked for a bribe, I'm asking citizens now, through the media, if you are asked for a bribe by any government officer, by anybody, report that individual. Be factual. Don't send on social media and expect the president to act or the oversight institution. Be factual. Report anyone asking you for a bribe. You want to get a license? You want to get your title deed? An officer at lands asks you for a bribe, report that officer by name. I encourage you to record them. If you witness corruption, report it. If you are the victim of corruption, report it. Let's defeat this together within the rule of law. Short of that, becomes a dictatorship. Short of that, we have to go to Parliament to change the law to lock up suspects for 6 months. They don't do it. So we have changed the law together. For now, let's use the existing law. I touched on the allegations about a deal that has received so much traction that Milingo was given a deal. I've touched on it. There's no deal. Anyone who's purported to have given a deal has no capacity to offer a deal. Yes, we want Milingo out of KCM. In the first place, we never wanted him there. It was wrong to appoint a liquidator into KCM. Read our articles when we were in opposition. It was wrong. That company needed a commercial solution. It didn't need a liquidator. By putting a liquidator, it took a different turn. Check, you are the media. Check what we say in opposition. Because criminality was occasioned in there. We want a solution to KCM so that they can contribute to the 3 million tons of copper production, which we targeted to trigger the economic turnaround. We want Mopani to return to full production. And we're looking for commercial solutions there. Increase production, add more revenue, employ more people. That's the agenda. The license under KCM is a license to mine Zambian minerals. With the electric car industry coming, these are some of the assets that we want to ramp up production and take advantage of the new opportunity arising from electric vehicles. And we are not going to allow KCM to sit in limbo. We're a responsible government. And if someone is sitting in the way, they must step aside. Why should we offer an immunity to somebody? For what? I hope this thing closes this debate. I go to bed late myself. How could I make his day from Cosmos? Honestly speaking. So please take it from me as your servant. There is nothing like that. If anyone offered me an immunity, it's illegal. But if anyone did that, they are on their own. Did you hear me? They are on their own. Because it's a non-issue. We believe our courts are competent to determine whether somebody is abusing the court process or not. We believe our courts are competent and they will discharge their duties to the nation. And let me say this, 3 arms of government: executive, legislature, parliament, judiciary. All of us work for the people of Zambia. None of these 3 arms of government work for themselves. None of us are above the law. None of us. We work for the people. I was questioned when I was away a few days. I took 4 days off from your house. Just 4 days. Because the other days were Easter holidays. Just 4 days. While I was away, there was an issue on the Minister of Foreign Affairs. That the Minister of Foreign Affairs got a bribe from Sinoma Cement. I was away. I called the Minister of Foreign Affairs, sorry. I got in touch with him. What is this thing I've heard? The first thing I did was not to read what was on social media and continue reading, was to then get in touch with the minister himself. Minister, have you seen what's being said? He said, yes. What were you doing there? I asked him that question. What were you doing there? He explained to me, private visit, he's building in that area. He wanted concrete mix, pre-mix. I said, continue. Continue. He explained. He said he got an envelope with a calendar and diary inside. Maybe he shouldn't have done it. It's him talking to me. I said, what were you carrying in that envelope? Because it's my duty. I'm the supervisor. I'm the supervisor to the vice president. In case you're not aware. That's the law. I'm the supervisor to the ministers. I'm the direct supervisor. I have to ask. And I asked on behalf of the people of Zambia. On behalf of the people of Zambia. And he gave me the answer And he said, perhaps, Mr. President, I should have not taken the calendar at the time. I didn't get paid anything. What else am I supposed to do? I must fire him? No. If anyone knows an answer better than he gave me, follow the law. Let's take the process. But on your behalf, I took the opportunity to ask him, because we're clear, none of us should take any bribe for anything. None of us. It's very clear. But that includes none of you as citizens as well. But we're in public office, the scrutiny is higher on us, agreed, and rightly so. If anyone has more information, let us know. Because we're accountable to you. But you say you got money, ring that hotline or tip somebody. You think somebody in State House got money? Tip somebody. You think a minister, another minister got money? Vice President, the President, tip somebody. We're together on this one. We'll always be together on this one. And other ills that destroy society. Social political issues. Just to remind the citizens of Zambia, we have restored the freedom of speech, we have restored the freedom of association, and other civil liberties. We're restoring the rule of law. You can't revive the economy. Remember the equation I said, revive the economy, then we can have social benefits. You can't revive the economy without the rule of law, without freedoms. We've restored this. We've put an end to the era of cadre impunity. Even when UPND cadres think that they're ill-treated because they wanted to revenge and avenge, just think for a moment. If this president had allowed or had not stopped UPND cadres after the 16th of August, when the declaration was made that we won, those who used to beat them in the markets, Kulima Tower, Intercity, just imagine if this servant of yours, president, had said, you can revenge. Just think for a moment. What do you think this country would have been? A bloodbath. Chaotic situation. Deaths. Who would have been carrying that blood? It's me. Never allow that to happen. We will never allow that to happen. But the very people who were beating UPND members and tear gassing them and doing all sorts of things are the ones who think they are clever now. You must praise God that a decent president took office. What you did to the MMD in 2011, if we were to do to you in 2021, after 16th of August, a lot of you would have been killed. I would have never allowed that to happen because we're made different from you. Don't take that to mean something else. UPND members, I say to you, I will not allow you to be the new thugs in town, to be the new thugs in the markets. No. Trade in the markets. You are free to do that. Your citizens, trade alongside a woman, a widow. That's what we want to see in our society. But to brutalize anybody? No. Why? Because we want freedoms to prevail. I know there's pressure. I'm aware. But I'm sitting on the lead. And I'm not allowing the lead to open. Because if it opens, I'll be responsible for providing no leadership. We are providing leadership. In as much as you are complaining, in as much as you want to revenge? No. But you who were beating people, don't celebrate. You must pray harder. That is decency in leadership today. Don't provoke people. What the order you see today in this country is not by chance. It's orchestrated. Throw your memory lane. Throw your memory lane. Take your memory to Chipata during the campaign, Chipata Airport. Take your memory there. Take your memory to a place called Maondo in Sesheke during the by-election. Take your memory lane there. Take it there. We were hunted like thugs. The thugs who hunted us, we know them. But we are saying to them, behave yourself. Behave yourself. Take your memory lane to the funeral of KK. Take your memory lane there. I was not even allowed to go and pay my last respects to KK's family, to him. When we lost Arabi, the very people who did not allow me to go and pay respects, my last respect to KK, I invited him. We invited him. We sat next to each other. The next thing, they started talking stuff. I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet. I said, look, people, see the behavior of people. See the nastiness. Take your memory like that. What you see today, the order you see today, even the noise you hear from the same abusive thugs is by design, by your leadership to normalize society. It's not by chance. Let's protect this peace. Let's cherish it. Our economy. This administration came to office on a clear vision to restore our economy so we can have social growth. But what we found was an economy in a much worse shape than anyone had anticipated, even as what was reported. Our debt was significantly higher and our coffers were empty, truly. That's why we defaulted on debt, because the coffers were empty. That's why retirees were not paid, because the coffers were empty. That is why council workers were not paid their salary sometimes for 15 months, because the coffers were dry. The ship called Zambia was not just a ship going in the wrong direction. It is a ship that needed to be turned around dramatically. It was rapidly sinking. It was leaking not in one place, but in multiple places. It's a ship we inherited. I know someone wants to say, don't talk of the past. How? Economy. You need to understand where you were in order to know where to take the country. You need to do that. This country was leaking from multiple places. This country was being ransacked by those that were put in office to protect the public. And so our first focus, attention, has been to plug the holes and stop the leaking. And we're getting there. That's why we've not defaulted on debt. Which default we inherited. It's because we've taken certain measures. That's why council workers are being paid on time, because we're sealing the leakages. That is why retirees, a good number of them, have been paid. Ladies and gentlemen, Vice President, Minister, Cabinet, that is why we have paid retirees. Because we're leaking the leakages, we're sealing the leakages. To fully account for what we owe, to cut wasteful expenditure, and to rebuild trust with our development partners was a big priority to us. Creditors, so as to begin to resolve the budget challenge. Someone asked me a question, Vice President, said, why is the UPND government not paying certain contractors? This is stifling the economy. I said, oh, give me an example of contractors that are not being paid. And they gave me an example. Road contractors, feeder roads, who gave themselves contracts illegally, corruptly, in 2020, 2021, to the tune of 12, 13 billion kwacha. That's the money they were flashing around during elections. Given contract to do roads, they don't even have a hoe or a shovel. But they siphoned money through contracts. Someone signed the contracts. He or she who should have protected citizens facilitated the corruption. And bills were rendered, 20% down payment for a contract of 400 million. Calculate. 10% of 400 million is 40 million kwacha. 20% is 80 million kwacha. They got paid 80 million kwacha. But they did not do any road. Then they billed for another portion of the contract. We found those bills and we said we are not paying these bills. And someone said to me, you are not paying local contractors. You are killing the economy. How can I mind? Cannot pay for theft. They've even written to us that, why are you not paying these contractors? We have said to them, an audit is taking place. Come and tell us why you want to be paid when you did not build any road. They haven't come. But the pressure on social media, pay the local contractors so you can revive the economy. And someone said, this is what the development economics say. I said, I did more than development economics. You can't pay for a service you did not receive. That's not how you grow the economy. That's how you destroy the economy. We are plugging those holes. We're plugging those holes. And rightly so. We've even cancelled some contracts worth billions of dollars. We are proud that we've cancelled contracts that were illegally issued, contracts that were overpriced. You know one of the contracts I love talking about. You know it. We've cancelled that contract with pride, with our heads high, to protect the public from wasteful expense. And citizens are complaining. Then you are part of corruption. Obviously. Last year, we reached the staff level agreement with the IMF program on the debt restructuring. You can't build the economy with a huge debt mountain. You can't. We said so during our campaigns. You can't. And we undertook to dismantle this debt, to create room to release resources towards debt service into the economy, to create jobs, to grow the economy. That's how it works. That's how it works. In a few months, we were able to reach that position. And we said by the middle of the year, 2022, we should be talking about this debt restructuring under a common framework. And our detractors were making a lot of noise. No, you've ignored China. You are ill-treating China. We were working. We don't make as much noise as you do. We are working. And a few days ago, I'm proud to announce to the nation something you know already, maybe to repeat it, that we engaged China, we engaged other creditors to negotiate a debt resolution package, even partial. And today, a few days ago, to show to those who were making noise that we've ignored China, we engaged China myself as president. It's my job. The job you gave me. Minister of Finance team together. Foreign Affairs. We want to thank China. Thank you to China for joining the common framework, agreeing to join the common framework to resolve the debt crisis. We've done it. Against all odds, credibility, seriousness. This couldn't be done for 10 years. We've done it in 8 months. You don't have to like us, but you have to respect what we're doing. 8 months, now we are on course to restructure the debt. And all the components I will not waste time on. The value of that is to release revenues onto the economic side, economic expansion, more resources available to the private sector, instead of that much to service debt. Now, after restructuring, it will be that much. The difference should go into the economy to create jobs, business opportunities. Thank you to China. Thank you to other creditors. Minister of Finance, I think he's not here today. He's out there. Governor of the Central Bank is out there. ST is out there. And I'm in touch with them almost every day. We've sent, as Zambians, we've sent them to do work for us to restructure this debt. And somebody is saying they will return. What are you going to return to government to do? If I may be a bit cheeky. You created this debt mountain. You ran the economy down, which was growing at 6-7%. You ran it down to 5, to 4, to 3, to 0, to minus. Today you want to be smart and say the New Dawn government has failed. The New Dawn government is resolving the mess you left behind, the mess you created. You should say thank you to us. That's what's happening. Zambians must learn and be proud that they put a government that is able to tackle serious challenges that were created by a reckless team of people. And we ask for your support to conclude this debt restructuring. Phase 2. Phase 1, staff level. Phase 2, it's a full program. By June, God willing, all work being done, we should be talking specific numbers. June is just a month away. And that's what we said we'll do. It's not easy to do what we are doing, but we are there. We are prepared to burn the midnight candle for the people of Zambia, those who put us in office. That's what matters to us. In recent months, inflation is coming down. It's coming down. 24% down to 13%. It's not by chance. It's by the instrument, the mechanism we put in place to release resources into the economy. The kwacha is stabilizing. It's not by chance, my dear citizens. It's work behind that. That's what you see from the surface. But behind that is a lot of work. But we're there to do it for you. You put us there to do the work for you. We are well aware that once we reopen the economy in the real sense, the jobs will come. Business opportunities will come for Zambian businesses. Yes, government has created 40,000 jobs plus. Teachers, medical staff. That's not enough. I'm the first one to admit that that's not good enough. A lot more jobs should come from the private sector. That's why we are dismantling the debt. That's why we are unlocking and stabilizing factors that make it difficult to do business. The engine of economic growth is the private sector. I want to repeat the announcement I made a few days ago. That after working hard, looking at how we can unlock the private sector development, shortly we will be launching what we call the Public-Private Dialogue Forum for Development as a way of working. You heard me. Public-Private Dialogue Forum for Development. What is this? The government and the private sector will be working as one in unlocking all those issues that are standing in the way of business, Zambian businesses, other businesses growing. Streams of work, agriculture, energy, all of those as examples will be working as a daily routine with the businesses in those sectors. Let me give you an example. Today it takes 6 months or more to get water rights for a farmer to irrigate a wheat field. If that farmer is on the Kafue River, the delays in issuing licenses, by the time the license is issued, the water will have no longer been here, it will have been in the Indian Ocean. It's gone. We want to unlock those issues so that the water license for irrigation can be given on time. So we'll sit with the irrigation farmers, with the Ministry of Water, the Ministry of Agriculture, and agree that licenses must be given within the shortest possible time, so that we don't lose water into the Indian Ocean and become salt water. Just one example. We'll also bring work streams such as unlocking KCM, unlocking Mopani, because they're key. Every day, working together. I heard someone saying HSE and the government are ignoring local business. We're local people ourselves. Local businesses come first, but they've suffered over years. We'll work together to unlock those opportunities. Do you have any suggestions? Give us those suggestions. This program is well thought through. It's not an abracadabra program, no. Study work, checking, benchmarking. This tool has been applied to turn around Singapore. They apply this tool, this toolkit. Malaysia, Vietnam, out of war, is emerging as an economy. It's this toolkit, basic approach. Next door, near next door, Rwanda. They're using this toolkit. This government is going to use this toolkit to unlock the economy, to unlock jobs. Let's work together in this area. In our first budget, we passed the seeds of development. Very important landmark. We realized that many children were not in school because the parents had no money or they were orphans. Against all odds, against all the criticism, we have offered free education. And I was checking it in my village school. It's working. It's working. It's working. It's deliberate. It's not by chance. CDF is deliberate. It's not by chance. 1,000 plus increments in CDF. There are teething issues. Registration of cooperatives. Minister of Energy, Minister of Youth, Minister SME, Minister Local Government must unlock this rigidity in the next 10 days so that our young people can access certificates and get on with the CDF. Never done before since independence. Decentralization. It's not by chance. It's deliberate. The cost of living, we are aware. We are consciously aware and we share with the people of Zambia the cost of living issues. Our hearts are there with you. But to have a long solution, long-lasting solution to the cost of living is to deal with the debt, is to deal with issues of fuel. Let me confront this issue. Issues of fuel cost, issues of fertilizer cost. The conventional open market, the war in Ukraine is exacerbating these cost drivers. Fuel, fertilizer. We are not just sitting. We know the implication of this on the welfare of the people of Zambia. But we are combining short-term solutions, medium and long-term solutions. We are aware of it. We sympathize with you. You are us. Us are you. We're one family. We cannot be oblivious to this pain. But part of our measures, mark my words, part of our measures, we are in conversations with bilateral colleagues, countries, oil producing countries, fertilizer producing countries, working to negotiate bilateral arrangements that, if we succeed, will alleviate the pressures arising from fuel and fertilizer on the cost of living. We are together. We are conscious. It is important that we deal with these two issues. I'm listening to Zambians on this matter. Yesterday I was listening when I came in to a gentleman, an energy expert called Mr. Chikwanda. I think some of you have heard him speak on energy. I think he's a good Zambian, and Mr. Chikwanda. I've asked my team that they arrange a meeting for me with Mr. Chikwanda so we can compare notes. Because we want to draw on the pool of all Zambians that have a view and a possible solution on the cost of fuel, cost of fertilizer. If you know someone else, let us talk. But what is important, as us farmers know, and I'm encouraging those calling us cows to continue. As us farmers know, planting the seed is just the first step. It takes time for the crop to grow. We feel the pain by the citizens of Zambia. We're working to address the cost of living. We work together in this area. But patience, turning around the economy, which was leaking everywhere, is not done by the day. It's done over a period of time. Together, we shall overcome and create a lasting solution to these short-term issues which are damaging. I don't want to suggest to the people of Zambia that, yes, it's true, but it's not an excuse that the cost of fuel here has increased less than in other countries. It's a fact, but it's not a consolation. I've already said, let's work together. And we'll be reaching out to anyone else who has a suggestion, a solution. That's the way it should be. We were elected to tackle a difficult country, a country that was damaged. We were elected to do just that. And we were working to do just that. We were elected to rebuild this economy so we can rebuild the social fabric. We are aware of it. We were elected to create jobs. The 40,000 plus jobs are not enough. Teaching and health workers. That's why we need to unlock the private sector. We are aware of it. We were elected to give hope to the citizens, including the youth and women. We're working to do just that. We know our mandate. We appreciate the decision of the people of Zambia to put us in office greatly, because they could have elected somebody else. We appreciate that. We will not abuse that opportunity. And I want to call on my colleagues in cabinet, permanent secretaries, vice president, all of us. We are not on honeymoon. No. We were thrown by the people of Zambia, and we asked them to do that. At the deep end of the ocean, we have to swim. We have to work for the people. That's the common denominator. That's why we sit in cabinet together. That's why you're permanent secretary. The common denominator is to work for the people of Zambia. We are aware of the challenges. Yes, they're deeper. But I want to say to the people of Zambia, this government is better placed than the one that was there before, and maybe any other, to tackle the challenges that we are faced with. Is better placed in many respects. You want to try Dununa reverse again? It's your decision. But you pay the price. You want more blood in the streets? It's your decision. You want a cabinet that has 2 regions only? It's your decision. We were brought a cabinet represented by all regions of this country. It's your decision. But we are humbled by your election. We work to bottom up this country's economy. What we have achieved in 8 days, we don't have to sing about it. Do a comparative analysis. 8 months, I said 8 days, 8 months. What we have achieved in 8 months is not for us to sing about. It's for you to do a benchmark. Look at the last 8 months of PF and look at the 8 months of UPNB. Your answer lies in there. But we will not be complacent. We will not sit on our laurels, cabinets, PSs. Let's work for these people. Let's work even harder. This country, I have no doubt in my mind, in 5 years' time, will be a totally different place. Totally different place. But it requires hard work. It requires us to work on facts, not innuendos. It requires us to respect each other, not to call each other names. It requires us not to steal from the people. It's an opportunity to serve the people of Zambia. That's how I feel. A very rare one for that matter. And we take your criticism, we take your views. That's the way it should be. that you made the right decision. Place in 5 years will be a different place. Watch the space. You may not see what some of us are seeing, but you will see it very soon. You're already seeing it. Last 8 months of PF, compare those 8 months with the last 8 months of UPND. You have your answer in there. Ultimately, we do what is humanly possible, but we pray to God to give us more wisdom, to give us more energy to work for His people. You, the people of Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for that elaborate and rather indulgent delivery. And I hope and trust that that has put to rest many of the questions which the Zambian people wanted answers to. And I hope that colleagues in the media have taken note. I therefore want to make an earnest request, colleagues, that if your question or area of concern has adequately been attended to by the President, let us as much as possible exercise restraint so that the President does not have to repeat himself. And therefore, those with questions, it is going to be strictly one question each, no consolidated or amalgamated questions, so that we can take as many questions as we would like. Let me also just indicate that we only have just about 30 minutes left on the clock before we can bring this session to a close, so we need to be incisive. We are going to proceed and descend into our question and answer session. We're going to take the first set of 3 questions. Let's get a good balance between our 2 genders, please, as those questions begin rolling in. I will begin on my right. Please come forward. State your name clearly and the organization that you're coming from. And over here, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Teresa Kalenga from CBC Television. And Mr. President, you have guided the nation and emphasized the need for citizens to avoid rumor mongering. How is the government tackling the issue of misinformation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will move to my left. Oliver, Faith.
Sorry.
Over there.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Oliver Tsega. I'm wearing 2 hats. I'm a freelance journalist, but today I'm representing the Mars. The Fourth Estate is thankful, Mr. President, that you have retained order to the media. In the past, to get a front row seat was a dream, but look at the order that we see today. The media is greatly indebted. The people on the Copper Belt are wondering what strides this government has made to, quoting your words, unlocking Mopani and KCM. A couple of friends spoken to on the Copper Belt say, "Well, President Ingavaya isula for KCM na Mopani, Nishivasova." People are in a hurry, apprehensive. Things have come to a standstill on the Copper Belt. I don't know whether you know that. What strides have you made? You touched about that, but they would like to know, to put their hearts at ease. What's happening?
Thank you, Oliver. Sandra from the Sun newspaper, please. Sun FM, I beg your pardon.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Sandra.
My name is Sandra. I'm from Sun FM Radio and TV. Mr. President, you did talk about wheat farming. My question is, the Ukraine war has had an impact on global food distribution. There is hunger in some parts of, in some areas, and we all know that Ukraine is a contributor to wheat distribution globally. So is Zambia positioning itself to start exporting wheat at some point, because this war could affect us as a country?
Thank you, Sandra. I will make way for the President to tackle those three initial questions. Mr. President.
Thank you very much for the questions, and I'm very grateful to the media, truly grateful to the media for coming in the large numbers, but also to acknowledge that it takes two to tango. We are very impressed with the media conduct, in as much as we may provide olive on the platform, but also the media, I think, plays its role to make sure that we bring order back to our country. There's no question there was no order just 9 months ago. It's no question at all. But we are thankful to the media, and I hope that the media will take advantage of the self-regulation opportunity that we have offered. Take advantage of the self-regulation. It's a side issue I'm commenting on. Come forward. Make your specific move. Organize yourselves. Nature doesn't allow a vacuum. You are providing a vacuum now. You are creating a vacuum. An opportunity was made for you to organize yourself, to self-regulate. You have not concluded that. I'm encouraging you to burn your midnight candle as well as a media, so we can move together properly. Madam Hakainde, how is the government tackling misinformation? I talked at length as to what what falsehoods can do. It's not true that the falsehoods are driven by the media. They are driven by citizens. The media is truly just a platform. It's a medium. That's why you're called a media, isn't it? It's just a platform. So I think we must all work together to stem this issue. Let me take you to 6th January, in 6th January 2021 in America. I think I'm right. 6th of January. They ran on the Capitol. The raid you saw in America, in the States, people attacking Washington, Parliament building, Congress, was driven by misinformation that they can take over a country where an election took place and somebody was elected president. And they were made to believe that they can overrun America. To date, the American system is still picking those who are misinforming citizens. It's part of my question, my answer to your question, Madam Hakainde. When you misinform citizens, you are breaking the law. You are offending the laws of this country. When the law enforcement picks you, don't complain, because you are breaking the law. That's the last measure, to make citizens comply to the laws. You can't say the freedom of information allows you to tell falsehoods. No. In the HH household, as a micro and macro family, you're not allowed to tell lies. It's part of our values not to tell lies. Even biblical, in a Christian country, you should not tell lies, because lies can kill. As Nakachinda said, I was calling judges at my house. He lied. It was a lie. But how is it that also the formal media is running the platforms and allowing lies to grow? We must check ourselves. This is self-regulation I'm asking for. Wait a second. Mwikale panshi, mulanshanye na imwe. Muntu alele pobufi, ana maboza, but that's the lead story in the media. That shouldn't be the case. That's the second part of my answer to the question. First, illegality. Lies are illegal in our statutes. So the law enforcement will enforce that. And don't complain. Going forward, the law will be enforced, because part of the rule of law. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can only have it because you haven't eaten it. If you eat it, the cake is gone. So you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't have your freedom and abuse your freedom. No, the law will stand in between to protect those that may be damaged by falsehoods. That's what we should be doing together, Hakainde. But here is self-restraint. As citizens, we must be self-restraining. As the media, we must not propel lies. When we know it's a lie, let's run a retraction ourselves before someone complains. Thirdly, let's regulate ourselves. That's why I started off with that challenge. Let's regulate ourselves. There's a veteran journalist here sitting in front of me. Let's consult him. Ramutuvila. Sorry, I'm exposing you, sir. We need elders. I hear every time the youth are important. Vakote. Nkote. But would you have existed without Nkote parents? We are one society of Nkote people, of young people, of middle-aged people. Part of our African culture is to learn from our family members who have seen more moonlight than us. That would be my answer to that question. But I want to repeat, going forward, the law will be enforced. Oliver, measures to unlock KCM. I talked quite at length that in this public-private dialogue forum for development, we are putting KCM and Mopani as work streams. Are we together? We have already been doing a lot of measures. That's why you hear the noise on the liquidator of KCM, because you are sitting in the way of resolving the KCM problems. The rest I will not say much. But KCM, Mopani, Oliver, to unlock KCM, Mopani, we believe Mopani were very close. I don't want to be over-ambitious. Part of my character is self-restraint. Part of my character is to say less and do more. That's how I was brought up. We are different in character. Some people make so much noise, but do very little. Somebody is praising themselves that those who don't build houses are fools. Me, I only spent $150,000 to build this house. Una pesa for $150,000. You were a diehard just a few years ago. You had nothing. You couldn't even buy an economy ticket. The law is clear. You must account for your income. The law is very clear. Sindine napanga la mulo, naipesa la mulo. Those naipesa pa. Noise is not equivalent to delivery. So, Oliver, we're very close on Mopani. It's an easier asset. I use the word asset delivery to unlock. So we're getting there. I think soon we'll hear the progress we've made. KCM is a bit complicated. It was made complicated by appointing a liquidator who should have never been there in the first place. So we're trying to remove that challenge, that constraint, so that we can now have a commercial solution to KCM. I have seen the media allegations, again falsehoods, that we want to give KCM back to Vedanta. I'm sure you've seen one. That's not true. We want to unlock KCM. It's a Zambian asset. And nothing should stand in the way. So that the people of the Copper Belt and the people of Zambia, remember, it's not just the Copper Belt. When KCM is unlocked, it benefits the Copper Belt, it benefits our citizens there, it benefits suppliers, it benefits revenue, it benefits foreign exchange income. with an asset which is being abused there. And we are determined, let me say it here, Oliver. Thank you for asking that question. We are determined to do what it takes to bring that asset back into production. And we will do what it takes. No innuendo, no abuse of court process will slow us down. Let me add what you have not asked. We are putting first quantum in there, in the work stream, because we have to unlock the $1.5 billion investment in there. Oliver. We have to unlock Hakainde. Let me take advantage of your question. We have to unlock Hakainde. We will not allow illegal mining to take place in this country, because we may become like a neighboring country where one province or two, you can't even enter there. You get shot dead because of illegal mining and mafia operations. When people die in Mumba, the state should not allow that. It was a mistake. I want to admit, this government made a mistake. UPND government made a mistake to allow illegal mining to continue in Mumba until people died. I accept that mistake on behalf of the government. We should not encourage that to happen anymore. Get your license. That's why we've shut the licensing office cadastra at mines to reorganize it, Oliver, through you, for the people of Zambia, so that licenses are given to Zambian citizens. We said so in the campaign. Take the opportunity to get a license and be a legal miner. That's why the Black Mountain, we've issued licenses there. That's what we committed in the opposition. No one talks about that. You don't have to sing the song, but see the actions. Yes, there are teething issues there. They were always going to be there. But the issue is to legalize mining at the Black Mountain and mining in a safe way. We don't want people to die there. This president is there to protect lives, not to take lives. Citizens were killed 9-10 months ago. We don't want that to happen under our watch. So, Hakainde, Oliver, the Black Mountain, so many mining assets that have been sitting underutilized, we want to bring them into utilization, create the jobs and the income, take advantage of the electric vehicle industry. This is our opportunity this week. I hope Cabinet, I'm not, because I've been away for some time. President Tshisekedi is coming here. Am I right? Welcome. Am I right? Yes, you are. You saw me going to Congo several times, Oliver. One opposition leader says, HH is going to Congo, there's nothing in Congo. I said, Ankala Puchu. Ankala Puchu. What we were trekking to Congo for is now maturing. The president is coming here, visiting us, and we're signing agreements to exploit our common resource endowment, to take advantage of the electric vehicle industry arising from climate change, Oliver, so we can earn more money on our electrical vehicle metals. What are they? Copper, cobalt, manganese, manganese now is the valuable mineral. We want citizens to benefit from manganese. Not illegal mining, not killing our people. Nickel. Of course, the list goes on. There are only 14 countries in the world, Oliver, just to share information needed. 14 countries in the world that host electric vehicle metals, minerals. 14 countries. 5, 10, 14. Of these 14, 7 are on the African continent. Of these 7 on the African continent, the top 2 is Congo and Zambia. You heard me? And we are working strategically. That's why we're working with Congo. The 2 of us lead the resource endowment on these minerals. And we want to maximize the value that the country gets for the people of Zambia. I have extended the answer to your question. We're not sitting. A few days' time, we're signing. Black and white, signatures. And we're on the move. The rest you will hear. I admit, maybe we're not giving you enough information. Going forward, we should give the people of Zambia more information on what we do. Sandra, Ukraine war, distortions in the wheat supply chain in the world, you are right. I'm very impressed with your knowledge, man. Many citizens are not aware of what you just said. But it's not just wheat, madam. It's potatoes. It's fuel. It is natural gas. It's so many things. What we are doing in Zambia, Sandra, strategically, I've just talked about the Congo-Zambia relationship. Strategically, we have taken a view as a new government that it's not a mistake for us to be located the way we are located. We don't want to hear of Zambians complaining about us being landlocked. Stephen Akumvela complains that we are landlocked. No, we are land linked. We are a special country. 8 plus 1 neighbor, 9. Because Burundi is complaining. Because we share a border through Lake Tanganyika. We are working to be the production center, wheat included. That's why I talked about irrigation, you heard me. I'm sure that's what drove your question. We don't want water rights for irrigation because we have the land, we have the climate, we have the soils, good soils, not just land, good soils. We have the water. We want to take advantage to feed, to produce wheat, to produce maize, to produce cotton, to produce agricultural trees. You will see in the work stream, again, Oliver, we are placing avocado there, we are placing agricultural trees as work streams in this PPDD program. So we can maximize benefits, feed ourselves, feed the region, Sandra, and export to the globe. Production center, processing center, packaging center, distribution center, export center. Great news. Within a crisis, there's a ray of opportunity. That's how I was brought up myself. Small window. I want to go through that small window of opportunity. This country must learn a few things. Instead of demonizing each other, we must learn the different cultural aspects we bring together as a country. It's God's gift. Opportunity, hard work, work and more work. There's a great opportunity for us to raise capital, cheaper capital to invest in our agricultural sector and be part of the supply chain, not only for wheat, but for others. But it won't happen if it takes 8 months to give water rights. Wama will be sitting at the same table, Frank, with the irrigation, small, micro irrigators, small, medium, large irrigators. Why do you call us to be a country with 35% of water, fresh water in Southern Africa? Why are we proud of what? We're not using the water. Let's utilize the water. Sandra, the question is very important. We're in a hurry to do that. But if you send wrong messages that we are favoring a few friends who are irrigators, colleagues, if I irrigate, encourage me to irrigate more. So we can sell more wheat. We can stabilize the wheat prices. I think this is the growing up that the country needs. To work from a negative frame of mind instead of a positive frame of mind. Please come on. We lost the set. What's the problem? Mindset. 10 years of damage. What was abnormal became normal. What we're trying to normalize now is abnormal to the people of Zambia. Please come on. The change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We shall take the last set of 3 questions, Mr. President, because, and I know that is at the risk of being exceedingly unpopular. I understand Mr. President has received quite a lot of questions from ordinary citizens and other quarters of stakeholders. So we also need to make way for the President to take the liberties, perhaps to respond to those questions as well. So I'm going to take the last set of 3. Jonah from Diamond. Please let's be concise and straight to the point. 1 question each. Then the lady closest to me as well.
Thank you. My name is Dingindawa Jonah Bioya from Diamond TV. Mr. President, I would like to draw you back to a few months ago, and this is because of an audio that was published suggesting that 2 members of your team were conniving to undermine the democracy of the country. And this audio sparked the long-standing debate around the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act. So my question is, from where you're standing, as has been on record, what is your position with regards to this law in Zambia as a government and as a political party as well? But also, what is your position with the 2 that are accused to have been in this audio, and what conclusion have you made?
Thank you, John. The lady.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Priska Lumingo from Millennium Radio. Mr. President, when you were talking about the high cost of living, if I got you clearly, you stated that the government has started engaging other countries on the issues of fuel and fertilizer to cushion the high cost of living. But my question is, what short-term homegrown measures is the government putting in place to address the daily challenges the Zambian people are facing? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wells?
Your Excellence, good morning. My name is Wells Funda from Spring TV. My question has been overtaken, but I will get to the next question. The JPP, the JPP, UPND cadres are calling for the removal of the current JPP. All right, thank you. So the UPND supporters and cadres are calling for the removal of the DPP. I wanted to get your stance regarding that. Thank you.
Mr. President.
How to quick answer so you can allow a few more whatever.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Ah, hear the female voices, eh? Hear them. Right? Right. Let me be specific and short here. Jonah, the audio from the 2. I think, again, I talked about the rule of law. Jonah, Dinginda. The rule of law is what we should use, is to apply the rule of law. It's not to be draconian. It's to be sober about these issues. It's to use the rule of law. Let's apply the rule of law. If you raise a complaint, you should be free. The toll lines are coming, do that, or anyone else. I think that's the thing to do. Do not be draconian about these issues, because I know the pain of draconian behavior myself. I'm the victim of draconian behavior, together with others. Some lost their lives, like Lawrence Band. So let's use the rule of law. The actual act now said cyber security. What is my view? I think earlier we were talking about falsehoods, isn't it? Falsehoods may be in a print media, they may be on social media, cyber. They are falsehoods. What we are doing around this law is to look at the excesses. Because remember, this law was passed just before elections, eh? And it was meant to target people like myself. I know that. But you see what happens. So one needs to be clever, eh? You set up a trap for HS, you walk in it yourself. This was set as a trap against some of us. What we should do as a country is to look at the excesses around this law. When we have consensus on those excesses, we amend the law. But the aspects that will curtail lying, whether it's on social media, electronic media, or whatever, it's lying, we must curtail it. That's my answer, John. Call me after the press conference, we'll talk more. I have a few more things to say around this issue. Repeat, lying is lying by any means. It must be stopped. It's illegal. It can inflame a country. I can tell you what Hakainde is trying to do. Hakainde wants to pitch one section of Zambians against another. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. But we should not allow him to do that. We shouldn't. If we fall in his trap, then we are like him. I'm not like him. You should not be like him. That's what he's trying to do. They did it before the elections. Oh, a Tonga will never rule. It's not a Tonga we want, it's a citizen we want who will work for the people of Zambia. Now, what he wants is people to rise. I've listened to an audio. Someone called Hakainde. And this guy says, I'm from Wengo. Why are you insulting us from Wengo? Now, I'm sure you can read what is going on in the minds of people. One day they will find him and attack him. We should not allow that to happen. Those who are injured, calm down. He's a lunatic trying to destroy a country. He's just a lunatic. We're bigger than that. So, Jonah, let's talk away from the press conference. Priska, fuel, fertilizer, yes, we're working on that. I think I indicated that, Priska. Short-term measure. What are we doing? Part of what we're doing, Priska, is what I talked about. I know you can't touch it, you can't see it. It's an intangible, but it's a valuable intangible. Intangible means you can't touch it, you can't see it. By fighting inflation. Priska, what's inflation? It's the cost of living. The increase in the general price level is called inflation. Where is Priska? Thank you. I'm trying to get an eye contact with you, but that gentleman is blocking you. Thank you, Priska. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. The measures we're taking is not what we're doing today. It's what we started doing as we took office. Is to slow down the increase in the general price level. That's the simple meaning of inflation. The increase in the general price level. That's what we brought down from 24% to 13%. Numbers don't lie. I've always said to Zambians, we should love numbers. If there's a subject you should love, and I loved it myself, it's numbers. Because they don't lie. This is an immediate action. And because of the measures Priska were put in place, we're able to slow down the general increase in the price level. That's the meaning of inflation. In simple terms, layman's language. From our trained language, we define it slightly deeper than that. That's an immediate measure, number one. Number two, my dear friend Priska, that is why we made a decision in our very first budget to offer free education, Priska, so that the pressure parents were having to pay for school children's fees can be alleviated from them. And the government then subsidizes education. That's the meaning of free education. It's a subsidy. I've heard another opposition leader say, this UPND party does not believe in subsidies. Free education is a subsidy to the citizens, so that education, which is what we need most to develop a country, is available to students even when parents are stressed. I passed through my village school, and I don't know my media guys if they showed it. I didn't even take a holiday because there were hundreds of people there. 05 in the morning they were arriving at the farm. What are those people, what do they want? They said, Mwanangu Hakainde, ndabola bo for free education. I'll put it in English. If I speak Nyanja, nobody complains. I speak Bemba, no one complains. I speak Lozi, people complain. I speak Tonga, people complain. What's the problem? A skewed mind. It's a skewed mind. Created through hatred. Years of hatred. Yet we share bedrooms together. Just the language becomes a source of hatred. It's a gift from God. We're a Christian country. I am saying multitudes of people were coming, 05 in the morning, old women, grandmothers, and I asked the question, can I help? We've just come to greet you, our son, and to thank you for giving us free education. Now our grandchildren are in school. We don't have to sell our chickens, we don't have to sell our goats, we don't have to sell our cows. The dreaded cows in the minds of one Chilango. That's how I grew up myself. Earned money from selling cows. I still do it. It's good business. I want to encourage the youth to go farming. I want to help you to raise cattle. It's a good thing. Good business. You don't have to steal from anyone. So, free education, Priska, is to address the cost of living, to take away the cost of school fees from families. Then the money that they are left with, they can use it on food. They can use it on other things. What else? CDF is a decision we made deliberate to give the youth and the women some social support. It's another subsidy. It's just called by a different name. Immediate measures is to lessen the pain that we as citizens are going through. CDF in there sits women fund, youth funds, grants. Grant is money you don't have to pay back. But we've also put soft loans in there so that a youth who wants to be better than Hakainde. I was very impressed when the media posted the stories of us checking a little, just small numbers of cattle. Small numbers. And many youth said, HH, we also do what you're doing. I love that sort of thinking, thought processes. It's to allow a youth, anyone, to borrow on a soft loan, very small percentage. The Minister of Local Government gave the figures of percentage of loan interest so that they can buy 2 cows, 5 cows, and in 5 years, I'll tell you the numbers, they will have 50 cows in 5 years only. And their asset will be worth a few millions of kwacha. That's how it works. But we're putting that seed in them now to access a loan. They don't have to raise cattle. They can raise goats, they can raise chickens, they can buy a brick making machine under CDF. All schools, Priska, all clinics, contracts will go to local contractors. And all purchases of materials such as bricks will be bought from the constituencies or the districts in there. Very smart. I know people are not paying attention. Watch that space in 5 years' time. Watch that space. See how the rural communities and urban, peri-urban communities will develop. Just watch that space. I know you don't see it, it's too early. But after 2 or 3 years, you see it. That's vision. Now, any school being built, you have to buy the blocks, the bricks from the local constituent. What we are doing now under CDF is for the youth or the women or anyone to borrow 20,000 kwacha, 30,000 kwacha to buy a bricking making machine. And then we'll buy all the bricks to build clinics and schools and teachers' houses and nurses from that constituency. Very smart. Very smart. So a youth, a woman, a citizen can borrow. That's a subsidy. And we'll buy the blocks. And tomorrow, a year later, there will be a different individual. You can't see it now. You'll see it very soon. A seed is put in the ground, Priska. You have to wait for it to germinate. You have to water it. Patience. You have to harvest. And when you harvest, don't do ubomba mwibala, aliya mwibala. Don't do that. Bad habits. Bad. Don't eat the pumpkin leaves. Allow the pumpkin to produce pumpkin. Allow the pumpkin plant to produce pumpkin. Don't eat all the leaves. If you eat chihuahua, you will have no pumpkin, you will have no seed. You won't plant more pumpkins next season. That's a culture we want to change in this country. Like it or you don't like it. That's how you create wealth. You like it or you don't. You have no other way out. That's the only way. So we're putting that seed, that grant, so that the youth, the women can now mold bricks. We give them a loan. Then they will repay the loan back by buying the bricks from them through CDF regulations, guidelines. Epela and little boy. Wamana. Lastly, there are many other measures, Priska, by the way. I don't want to bore you. Oscar Chabula, is he here? Oscar is not here. Hot FM, there's nobody from Hot FM. Go and tell Oscar I'm being mischievous. I'm available for a 2-hour radio program. On his radio, on your radio, Hot FM. I promised during the opposition, I promised 2 radio stations, Phoenix and Hot FM. I did it with Phoenix, I'm ready for Hot FM. So we can interact more with people across the country. I'm available, even tomorrow. Plan it. Kunda, DPP, UPND cadres are calling for her removal. First, I commented on this issue at length earlier. No one has the legal right to offer immunity to anybody. Not the DPP. She has no right. She has no legal right. Let's not skip the issue here. She hasn't got. Let's not abuse judicial processes here. She has no right. There's no one in State House who has any legal power to offer immunity to anyone. I said it. I'm reinforcing the point here. I don't like kidding around myself. I don't kid around. Sometimes study the leaders you've chosen. Go back and look at these fellow code agents. I don't play around myself. I may not make much noise, because in this country noise is supposed to be equivalent to ability. No. Most noise teams are empty teams. No one can confer protection against corruption to anybody. Not the DPP. No. What should happen is that the law is clear here. If the DPP has transgressed her rights, the institutions, the framers of the institutions were very clever. You complain to the Judicial Complaints Commission. And I think people have done that already. If not, more will be doing that. That's a law. And then from there, it will take its own course. What the UPND cadre says is what any Zambians can say. Remember, those UPND cadres are citizens. There are people already warning the UPND, don't touch the DPP. You haven't heard that? There are people saying that. So that talk is equalized by the UPND cadres if it's true. So there's talk negative, there's talk positive, but our duty is not to listen to those who are saying don't touch the DPP. No one is going to touch the DPP. Only the law will touch the DPP. The law you put in place. So we will not listen to those people, whether it's civil society or it's anyone or it's a relative of the DPP. It does not matter what you feel. It does not matter what the UPND members feel. They're citizens of Zambia. They're freedom of speech. But what matters to us is to follow the law. Kunda. Anyone aggrieved about the conduct of the DPP is to complain to the Judicial Complaints Commission. I'm sure many Zambians are going to do that. Because what we have seen in the last 30 days is unacceptable. It's not correct. The DPP has no power to arrest. The DPP has the power to prosecute. That's a separation of powers. How can she stop people from arresting others? DEC has a right to arrest. So is ACC. So are the police. She has no power over the police. And the DPP cannot tell the DEC, don't arrest Miringo. The DEC can arrest Miringo if they feel Miringo has broken the law. They can arrest Miringo 20 times if he has broken the law 20 times. And I encourage them to do so. DPP has no right to say, don't arrest Miringo. Who is she? Where has she drawn her powers from? She doesn't have those powers. She wrote a letter for Mary Chirwa not to arrest Miringo. That is wrong. Somebody must complain. I'm encouraging Zambians to complain to the Judicial Complaints Commission. That's not victimization. Then she offers immunity to Miringo. That's wrong. Another complaint must go to the Judicial Complaints Commission. And then the law takes its course. God help her. And God help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be really, really unpopular and take the last set of 3 questions. Ambassador Mtubira, Ulande from Degas.
Is there a question I missed answer? Is there a question I didn't answer?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Ulande? Yeah. And the lady closest to me.
Your Excellency, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the kind words you have said about me. Your Excellency, your office is the busiest on the land. What is your justification for taking up the chairmanship of IDC? In saying so, what plans does IDC have to increase its stake in the emerald mines and gold mines in order to increase the financial returns for this country? Because from what I know, there's so much money from emeralds, and if we increase our returns, it could go far in alleviating some of the economic problems the country has. In relation to that, Your Excellency, there's a story attributed to President Kagame saying the leaders that give concessions, tax holidays to investors who come to mine minerals in Africa are not serious, they are not real. Use stronger words than that, Your Excellency. And finally, in thanking you, Your Excellency, for this useful press conference, in my 52 years of media, this is the first time I'm having problems accessing some of your ministers. It's very difficult to get hold of some of your ministers to disseminate useful information. Perhaps you need to give a directive that the ministers are accessible, especially to the media. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador.
He's very clever. He's asked more questions. Maybe age allows him to.
Absolutely, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Mr. President,
Your name, madam, and the organization where you're coming from, please?
My name is Kombe Mataka. I'm coming from the Mass newspaper. Mr. President, you mentioned and clarified that at no time had you held a meeting with the former liquidator for Konkola Copper Mines. But some of the officials from your office have been mentioned, have been instituted any investigations to check if at all that information is true or not. And if it is found that that information is true, is there going to be any action against these officials?
Thank you. Randy?
Good afternoon, President. My name is Ulande Nkomesha from News Diggers. Yes, my question is basically on another public debate, which is in the media. You have been on record, President, asking those who stole to surrender money and assets in order to benefit from your gesture of amnesty. But maybe people might ask, how fair can it be for people who stole millions of public funds to be given an option to avoid prison after surrendering, while chicken thieves and those who were found guilty of defamation are left to pay the full price?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Frank asked a lot more questions. Asked a lot more questions. Asked a lot more questions than one, but he's an experienced one in these things. But it's good he asked the questions. Number one, President is busy. Why IDC chair? I found it, Frank. I didn't create it. This is another issue, Frank. The people make issues out of no issues. You didn't question those who created those corporate arrangements. No one questioned the previous president why he was chairman of IDC. I never heard anyone questioning it. HH is a different animal. He comes in, he must be exorcised. Double dealings, prejudices. I know. Prejudices. Not good for a country. I found that situation. You should ask me if I agree with it or not. I'll tell you in private my views. But I found it. In as much as I found the Cyber Security Act, which I objected against. You ask me my views, I'll tell you in private. Just as I found a constitutional provision for by-elections, Frank, you know my views. I don't agree with by-elections. They waste money. But when I say that, it's, oh, he's draconian. He wants to run away from by-elections, he will lose. The last 3 by-elections, Western, we won. Southern, we won. Northern, we won. The opposition votes put together in Northern, where we had never won that seat. They don't match the UPND votes. We beat them to power. So it's not fear of losing. It is principle that we're wasting money on by-elections. We need money to create jobs. We need money to send our children to school. Oliver, that's my view. But others are saying, I want to hide behind my view of wastage because of my economic business background. I'm afraid of losing. Losing to who? Numbers don't lie. So, I guess those who want double standards must examine themselves as well. I have an opinion, Frank, about that. The presidency is busy. But you and I will talk off the line. I found a lot of things I don't agree with. But as a person who respects the law, until the law is changed, I have to do what? Some things I don't like. Like by-elections, like, having to appeal to remove an officer who is working against the people of Zambia, having to wait until someone else decides. Yet you are asked to correct wrong things. We were elected on a ticket of change. We try and change things. The law says, no, you can't do that. And someone sees a window of opportunity and abuses their position to stand in the way of the fight against corruption. I fold my arms, yet I disagree. It's discipline, Frank. It's called discipline. It's called respecting the laws until the laws are changed. I said about a neighboring country which went to Parliament to change the law, and they lock up people there 90 days. No conversation until you are ready to talk. If I did that here, Frank, you'll be the first one to criticize me. You will even hold a press conference. Frank, your next question about IDC is only a an instrument you've chosen to increase our interest in strategic minerals of the future, precious, semi-precious, emerald you've talked, isn't it? Gold. If there's diamond, it's being said there could be diamond in this country. I go beyond, Frank, in agreeing with you, my dear brother. I want citizens to benefit from copper, to benefit from cobalt, to benefit from manganese, nickel. That's the battle we're having now. That's why we've shut that cadastre, because people were stealing licenses and giving to friends, and in a manner that will not benefit citizens, including giving to foreigners. Who was doing that? The previous government. Kabuswe shuts that day, Minister Kabuswe. And what is on social media? Kabuswe is corrupt. Poor fellow is implementing a cabinet decision. And he singled out that is corrupt, and the president must fire Kabuswe. No, I'm not firing Kabuswe. No, because I've asked Kabuswe to shut that thing. Frank, to deal with what you've just said now. So you like me in IDC, isn't it? So we can increase the benefit. Frank, the vice president is here. The minister of infrastructure is here. Which other minister is here? I use the words in cabinet that we in Zambia must do what Botswana has done with these diamonds. Vice President, that's not true. I keep saying that to a point where I'm boring to my colleagues in cabinet. That we must use our mineral resources, our timber. That's why we're grappling with Mukula now. Our water, to do what Botswana has done with one mineral called diamond. It has changed the lives of the Swana people. As a student at University Frank, undergraduate, Unza, we used to laugh at Swanas, that they were uncivilized. I'm sorry to say that to the Swanas. I'm saying so in good faith. But the Swanas were cleverer than us. Today they are laughing at us because we're not as clever as them. Why? They've used their diamond to benefit the Swana lives, to improve lives. That's our intent. Frank, we are together. 100%. But we have to be smart. We don't want to withdraw existing licenses. But the new licenses, we want to use them in a clever way. That's why that cadastre is not issuing licenses, to reorganize, to allow you and others subjects to have access to the resources. And partner with others with two assets. One, capital. Two, technology. But also the state, in my view. We're still debating on cabinet. Some don't agree, but I am of your view. Will you support me, Frank?
I will, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ministers being accessible. I've heard them. They are here. Cabinet members are here, 2 of them. 3 of us. Others are here through the media. But we will reinforce your point. And you are right. Remember, I've belabored in this press briefing to say we work for you. And we must demonstrate that we work for you by being accessible. Thank you for that. President Kagame's point, I've dealt with it in a clever way.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. He was my visitor just a few weeks ago. But where he's coming from, I understand. It's not too different from where I'm coming from, but we may not use the same words.
Right.
The intent is similar. Resources of Zambia must benefit Zambians. And this goes for our investors as well. You need to work with Zambians. That's my message to investors. Work with Zambians. That's your best insurance policy against expropriation. When you work with Zambians, you have a vested interest together. It's not them against us. It's us together. Loaded, eh? Kombe. The issue of meeting the liquidator. You want to hear more around it. I have belabored that point. Where is Kombe? I have belabored that point, madam. I spent an awfully too long talking about it. Milingo was standing in the way of the solution to KCM. That's Chisenga's question. We never agreed with Milingo's appointment in opposition. We never agreed with what he was doing there when we formed government. It's not a secret. It's in public domain. You must have written a story of me talking about that when I was in opposition. We want to unlock that asset. The question which was parroted around, that's the word I was looking, parroted around, was in any engagement, and immunity was granted to me. That's a material issue. If I meet you, call me. Is there an issue in meeting you? There's no issue. There's freedom of association. It's a law. I'm digressing a little bit so you can see the point that I want to make. Because it is dealing with the edges of the table. You want the value of the table, use the flat side of the table. The edge will drop your meal. It will fall off. Use the middle of the table, the substance. An insinuation was made that I met Milingo to negotiate the immunity. Never did that. Vice President Ye was said to have met Milingo. Minister of Finance was said to have met Milingo. On the social media, including human beings talking, verbatim. The insinuation was that we met him to do a deal. Never. Kombe, never. When I took office, when you put me in this office, Kombe, I met DPP, I met ACC, I met Bank of Zambia Governor, I met ZRI, the previous ZRI Commissioner General, Kingsley Sender, came to my house and said, Mr. President, congratulations. This is a summary of where ZRI is. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A briefing. Milingo Lungu came to give me a briefing. First week of September, all around August, just after our inauguration, a series of people were coming. Frank didn't come to give me a briefing of what he's doing. It's okay. He's always a friend. I'm sure he assumed that I heard him already. But the issue is that, that I instructed my aides to go and negotiate a deal with Milingo, an immunity with Milingo. I didn't. Vice President here, one day she will speak for herself. But I think she didn't. She never told me. She's supposed to brief me if she met Milingo. She didn't brief me, so I take it. She didn't. Am I right now? Minister of Infrastructure is here. If he met Milingo, he would have briefed me, because he has a duty to brief the president. He didn't. I take it he didn't meet Milingo. I know the Minister of Finance, when Milingo was giving me the briefing of KCM as a liquidator in August 2021, August 2021, Minister of Finance was present. The principal private secretary was present. Normal briefing, because that's how I like it. People sit around with me. That's it. I said to Milingo, give us a report, render a report of what you've been doing there. Render a report. We parted company like many others. But the subject is that in the last 30 days, in the last 60 days, in the last, 90 days, take your pick, Kombe, that this president instructed for a deal to be done. Nothing. So your question is that, what am I going to do to the assistant? I've asked the assistants. I asked them. Again, that's my style. You guys, is there anyone of you offered million immunity? There's no. What am I supposed to do for me? Tell me, my sister. What am I supposed to do? Give me guidance. As I did on the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I said, Minister, what happened at Sinoma? What were you doing there? I asked my colleagues, same questions. Minister of Justice, Attorney General, Solicitor General, Legal Advisor, PPS, Machila here. I've seen names. Fire, Aimbe, fire, Attorney General, fire, Solicitor General, fire, Chris Mundia, fire, Machila, fire everybody at State House. It's all over. Now, if you were the president, would you fire these people? When you interacted with those people and those people said we didn't offer Milingo immunity. If in Milingo's resignation there was an interaction with the special assistants to get a message that he has to go, why should I fire them? Would you fire them yourself? If you were president. One day you'll be president of Zambia. So I think this is how we should deal with issues. Not falsehoods. Not say this is an opportunity. Since you said the vice president also made, why didn't you say fire the vice president? I didn't say not saying fire the vice president. Why? Why was there not to say fire the Minister of Finance? Why? You see these issues now. You're free to call me Konde after the meeting if you still want more information. Happy to explain to you. I have all explanations to you. Information. Surrender assets. Is this fair? Someone may get arrested on a smaller crime. Huh? I think that was the meaning. On a smaller crime. Big thieves, a clique of thieves. They took a lot of money. It's true. I answered Frank in a certain way. I said, Frank, I found laws. I found arrangements. I didn't make them. In the ACC Act, in the DPP Act, the act that creates the DPP, the act that creates the ACC, there are provisions for settlement. If that one of the clique decides that they will come forward and say, I took money from the people of Zambia, I was wrong, I took $100 million. Here it is. The law commercial provides for that. I didn't create the law. I didn't. This is the problem being created. HH is being judged on a different set of laws. The previous government, I'll mention that, used the same legal provision to forgive one of the sitting ministers in the previous government. When I took office, when you put me in office, I took interest to see, because I used to see one minister going to court. All of a sudden, he was not in court. I said, what happened? I want to see. I said to ACC, what happened to that case, DPP or whatever? They said, no, there was a settlement out of court using this law. And I found out it was one of the key ministers of the previous government. And I looked at the settlement commission. I was horrified. It will come very soon. And I said, this is not correct. This guy agreed he took so much. He only brought 100,000 kwacha. What sort of settlement is that? Abuse. But the law is there. That's my answer to your question. We want to change the laws, we go to Parliament. Let's not judge the UPND government on a different set of laws. Let's judge them on the existing laws. When we don't like the law on by-election, I don't like it, I'll go to Parliament. I've asked the Minister of Justice to go to Parliament with that law and other laws I don't like. But I'm only one. The only way my views will be respected if Parliament agrees on behalf of the people. If Parliament agrees on behalf of the people, there should be no by-elections. I'll be celebrating. I think I'll celebrate and you will celebrate. Why are we wasting money? But in this case, the law exists for a pre-trial bargain. I may not use the right words, but there are lawyers in this room. The previous government did it. No one questioned it. I questioned because I was interested to see how a big issue died like that. And I found out how it died. The father is dead. I disagree with it, but it was done within the law. The question is that was that fair to the country? That's a good question. Was that fair to the people of Zambia? Good question. I don't know. I don't think it was fair, but it was done within the law. I must say here, I've also asked the colleagues in there to say, I think we should not do things like that. If a person took $100 million, they must bring back $100 million. Not to bring back 100,000 when they took hundreds of thousands of dollars. And using the law, then it's abuse of the law. Commission. It's abuse of the law. Now, that's where we come to officers. Why should officers abuse the law? Was it done in good faith? I don't know. Personally, I don't think so. I hope I've answered your question. I feel what you feel in commission. But the country, I gave you an example, who went to Parliament to change the law to lock up people for 90 days, and then they start talking, because thieves are hardcore thieves. They don't talk. The clique is hardcore. For me in commission, I was brought up not to take what is not mine. But how can someone take hundreds of millions of dollars and still have the courage to sue and go to court and sue the government? Very strange behavior, isn't it? In the country, I gave you an example of, after they change the law, they lock up people, commission. The people say, I'm willing to talk. Then they say, sit here and talk. I know one person or a family that brought back $2 billion. $2 billion commission. The question for you is that, you do say no to that $2 billion which you need to invest in your country's economy, education, agriculture. The law provided for that, they did it. In the same neighboring country. But then they had to be draconian and lock up people. Help us to change the law to lock up people. They will talk. They will talk. And it will happen quickly. But this is Zambia. This is not a neighboring country. You will be the same one who will be saying, HH is a dictator, you information, and others. I think I've answered the question illustratively so that we can settle this matter. I don't agree big crimes treated in this way. But let's change the laws. In the meantime, we have to work within the law. If you ask me my view, commission, I would rather have a law that I recover the money and still lock them up. Frank, you agree?
Yeah.
If I had my way, if I was Zambia, I was the only citizen of Zambia, I would quickly change my law and say I will lock them up, but also recover the money. Do both. Then they will not tamper with people's money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. The President has been exceedingly exhaustive in his responses. I will therefore request that Mr. President delivers your closing remarks as we bring this press conference to a conclusion. The President might want to take care perhaps to address one or two concerns that may have been raised by private citizens. Mr. President.
Anthony, thank you very much. Colleagues, thank you. I just wanted to abuse you a little bit, media and the citizens that are here, because it's important. We sent a note, my team sent a note to ask citizens to ask questions in advance of the press briefing. And a lot of citizens asked questions, and we are keeping a database of those questions. will be answering those questions. Some of them I've answered through this press briefing, a number of them. Some were similar, but I choose to address questions from Isaac Maipopo, who is the Executive Director, Center for Trade Policy and Development, who sent to me through a friend of mine. Very straight. He sent to me through a friend of mine who is in Ethiopia. But Maipopo is here. Maybe it's this access issue. We have to deal with it now. But Isaac, thank you very much. Isaac asked a question on CDF, measures that the government is putting in place to ensure that local authorities' capacity is enhanced to use the increased allocation in prudent and timely allocation of CDF. Isaac, your question is right. We've put measures in place. Maybe they are not sufficient, but we put measures in place. Let's see how they work in the first lot of CDF. By the way, we've released CDF already to the tune of 6 million kwacha of the 25.7 million. And we've released it on time in the first quarter because we've broken it in quarters, Isaac and citizens to control, to monitor and control, so that if there's a misuse, we can quickly pick it up and sharpen the guidelines. Isaac, thank you for your question. You asked a question on KCF, clear policy position on this investment. I think I've answered that question. You asked a question on update on Kasenseli. I've answered that question. Isaac, my problem. New agriculture support program, what is it? We are moving away citizens from FISIP alone. FISIP is not agriculture. Agriculture is not fertilizer and seed, Isaac. Agriculture is irrigation. That's why you heard me talk about irrigation. Agriculture is agricultural trees, avocados, mulberry for silk. Agriculture is cattle, pigs. Agriculture is vegetables. Agriculture is everything. So we are going to what we call agricultural support program for overall agriculture, credit, genetics, yields, productivity, usage of water, everything, capital. We're looking for lower cost of capital to invest in agriculture. By lowering the cost of capital to help lower the cost of production. We're well ahead of what others may think. So we are moving towards a fully fledged agricultural program so that agriculture is not seed, it's not fertilizer alone. Yes, these are components, but we are graduating to a full program. So we can realize the full potential of agriculture, jobs, GDP contribution, processing, value addition, exports. President Tshisekedi is coming. Amongst the things we're dealing with is we want to export more to Congo DR, including military. That's why we're not shutting those borders again. Even when people are asking us, Oliver, to shut the borders. When we shut the borders under the previous government, Congo gave us, Frank, 500,000 metric tons of millet, and we shut the border. And President Tshisekedi said to me, you shut the border, my brother. Your brother shut the border. The Congolese want to eat Hichilema every day. Now you didn't even tell us you shut the border, and there was no millet. Because I was asking, can you give us that order back? He said, my brother, I'll give it back to you, but stop shutting the border. Because the Congolese will kill me. They love Hichilema. And we gave the order to South Africa. So why are you complaining, HS? Your predecessor shut the border. You knew that we needed millet. So I promised him that I will not shut the border again. Give me back my contract. So I'm going to arm twist him as he comes a few days from now. This is for the good of agriculture. ASP, Agriculture Support Program. Isaac, that's the issue. Artisanal and small-scale mining. Zambians getting involved. I've answered that question. Kabuswe is working, Minister Kabuswe is working on a government mandate to reorganize license issuance, safe mining, legal, safe mining. We don't want illegal mining. Otherwise we'll be like a province I don't want to mention in another country, where guns rule in that province because of illegal mining and crime. I've answered that question, Isaac. Let's work together. Your views, Isaac, they are welcome. Gold, yes, it's included in there. Everything. Lithium, it's included in there. Everything. Public debt management besides pursuit of the IMF. Yeah, domestic debt. Isaac, we are not paying those who got contracts and never delivered the service. We're not paying them. No development economist will convince me beyond paying for air. We can't pay for air. You didn't deliver a service, you will not be paid. Actually, the anti-corruption will visit you. They could visit you for money laundering. I also said last time, Isaac, we will name and share. We will produce a list of those people who corruptly got contracts and never delivered anything. Job creation besides teachers. I think I answered that. Transparency on collection and use of toll fees. I take that question, Isaac, my popo, will pass it on to the relevant ministry. Your question is fair, it's genuine. So we'll pick it up from there. Anton, those are Isaac's questions. I want to say thank you to the people of Zambia. First, for putting us in office to serve you. Secondly, I want to commit to you. We work for you. We are your servants. Don't hesitate. You want to guide us? Do so. You want to criticize us? Do so as well. But be factual. Don't do the Nakachinda way. Be factual. You know the corrupt person, report. I'm talking of past corruption, present and future. The country is challenged, the country was run down. We are determined to rebuild it. Extremely determined, more determined than ever before to rebuild this country. The debt restructuring program on a common framework is on course. Very difficult it was. It's on course. A lot of work behind the scenes. Domestic debt, domestic creditors, we are with you. You supplied goods genuinely, you should be paid. You supplied nothing, you want to be paid, you are stealing. Don't club the fight against corruption to ethnicity. It won't help you. Absolutely not. No one in this government will protect corruption. No one. Not me, not the vice president, not cabinet, not senators, not ACC, not DPP. No. No one. You do it, you're on your own. That's it. I'm very delighted that children of Zambia are going to school. You should be delighted. Let's buy more desks for our children to sit on. We work with the private sector to create more jobs. That's what you elected us to do, nothing else. Our hearts are in the right place. God help Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for being available and taking time to engage the Zambian people. And again, this is indicative of our enduring commitment and commitment of staying engaged with the public and continue promoting a new culture of leadership, which is accountable and transparent. Madam Vice President, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your leadership. Honorable Minister, Acting Secretary to the Cabinet, Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet, senior government officials, colleagues from the State House, the media, thank you very much for being here today. We shall descend into our national anthem, after which the President, the Vice President, and the rest of the senior government officials, State House officials will depart. Thank you very much.
Stand and sing of Zambia, proud and free, a land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for their right. We fashioned with and blessed by God's good hand. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free, one land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace needs Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free, praise be to God. Bless our great nation, free men we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
So to the president. We're done.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, media. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.